Trinkets are coming to the Tavern on August 20th. On turns 6 and 9, you'll have a selection of 4 trinkets, each with an effect that'll last the rest of the game. For example, one might give minions in the shop +3/+3, one might give your current board +2/+1 permanently, or even give you a no-me effect for the rest of the game. However, these trinkets will all cost gold to buy. The more powerful the effect, the more expensive it'll cost, and your turn 9 trinkets will be more powerful than your turn 6 ones. In this video, I'll be covering everything you need to know about Season 8 Battlegrounds, including what I think are the strongest trinkets in the game, and also the strongest comps in the game. Let me know in the comments whether you think I'll be right or wrong. First, let's talk about some of the new comps, which I'll be looking at from my website HSBG guide. I know the patch isn't entirely out yet, but I have a pretty good idea of what will be core for each of the new archetypes in the coming season, and I'll regularly update the comp guide after the patch drops. First off, I think the new Undead summon archetype will be B tier, assuming that beasts are in. The idea is pretty simple. Catacomb Crasher is a card that buffs your whole board if you summon something you don't have space for. Then you take Macaw, trigger Cadaver Caretaker a bunch, and that's already like an 8/8 buff to your whole board. Add cards such as Eyes of the Earth Mother and Titus and Reborn on the Macaw, and you can see how this kind of scales out of control. There's also a new trinket called Mug of the Sire that gives your whole board 4 attack whenever you summon something you can't, which makes this comp even more powerful. Another new comp that will be introduced in Season 8 is Deathrattle Pirates. This comp revolves around buffing the attack of all the summoned pirates permanently with Cruise Control Man, and then summoning a bunch of pirates that attack immediately with Rapscan Recruiter or Sky Pirate Flagbearer. This is looking like a very Deathrattle meta already because of how essential Titus is to these comps. A third comp that basically also needs Titus is going to be Leapfroggers. Love it or hate it, I know Leapers is going to see a lot of play at high MR. Basically, you run Leapfrogger and Titus, which exponentially jumps on your beasts, Mana Saber, which summons taunts so your Titus doesn't get sniped, and Macaw's job is to trigger the Mana Saber. And there may or may not be a trinket that gives Titus stealth, so I'm looking forward to that. And our final new archetype, which is for mechs, is Automaton comp. Automaton is a card similar to Eternal Knight, but gains +3/+2 permanently every time you summon it. You might think there's not that many ways to summon it, but there are 2 new cards to support Automaton. Prosthetic Hand, which you can attach to any mech to give it reborn, and Kangor's Apprentice, which can resummon back 2 automatons. I know one combo I know I'm going to try is Kerjan's Chest Kit, which is a trinket that summons exact copies of your entire board, but my board is going to be Reborn Automaton, Kangors, and Kangors. Send me a screenshot in my Discord if you manage to pull it off before me. Finally, let's get into what's on all of our minds, trinkets. I predicted how good each trinket will be and the best comp for every single trinket. Don't worry, I'll also be updating these during the actual season as the meta solidifies. I think this trinket guide is especially useful because let's say you're in a game and you want to check how good a certain trinket is, let's say it's Nomi sticker. You can just type in Nomi in the search bar and it'll exactly show you the trinket, maybe some of the best comps from the trinket, how good it is, and even some notes that will help you pick your trinket. Also, if you want to sort the trinket by tier, you can just click the tier button on the table so you can study kind of what some of the best trinkets in the meta right now are. All this information is on HSBG guide and is all free. Anyways, let's go over what I think are the 10 best trinkets currently in the game. Actually 11. Starting off with Bronzebeard Trinket, a greater trinket that gives you a brand and turns it into both a Murloc and a dragon. If you really need that brand, getting a brand is already huge and worth 1 gold. But brand being able to be buffed by Murky or Begurgle, Caligos, Dracosath also seems pretty insane to me as a bonus. Next up, a Automaton Portrait, which gives you an Automaton in your hand and start of combat, is actually a lesser trinket, which means that you can start scaling your Automatons from turn 6. I think this will be insane, partly because I think the new Automaton comp is going to be insane, but I'm still excited to play them. We also have the lesser trinket Windrunner Necklace, which is going to be such insane tempo in the mid game. Imagine you just have a Scallywag on your board and then you pick this trinket and it just casually kills 2 of their greatest units. And then your Risen Rider also kills 2 of their units. I think most of this time this trinket will just be the best tempo option. Calligraphy set, both the lesser and the greater ones, I feel like are obviously insane. Previously you relied on Pokey to scale like 1-1 on your gems at best, but now you can scale it 4-4, 6-6 every turn easily. I feel like these ones will be especially insane with Bristleblock comps because you want to play Avenge setup with Bristleblock anyways. Also, Conductor Portrait will definitely be broken in Naga lobbies, mark my words. Yes, every time you discard a card, it's basically a Gem Smuggler effect, so Mangled Bandit and Snarling Conductor will work. But we also got confirmation that if you discard a spellcraft, it actually counts as discarding a card. Imagine every spellcraft you buy is a Gem Smuggler. Enough said. Eternal Night Portrait will also be insane given that you have Eternal Night already, because this is like guaranteed passive scaling starting from turn 6 and absurd amounts of tempos that gives a clear direction into the KT Eternal Night comp later. And then there's this Rivendare Portrait, which is what I think is by far the best trinket in the game, just because there's absolutely no counterplay to it. Basically, you get a Titus and you give it stealth, which is like not okay. I'm pretty sure this one can cost 11 and it'll still be strong because there's just zero way you can counter stealth Titus leapers in the game right now, except maybe Kaboombot comp. Basically, you run stealth Titus and your typical leaper setup, and you're guaranteed that your Titus doesn't die, and you're also guaranteed that you have the Titus so you don't have to roll for it. And I legitimately think you're just unbeatable as long as you play around Blaster. But even if you don't play Beast, like currently half the comps run Titus, so Stealth Titus will be insane for the new Pirate comp too. Just guaranteed summon a million Scallywags with like 30 attack. And then there's the Greater Trinket Dalaran Cheese Wheel, which I could see not being as strong as I think, but I think if you have a recycling rate on your board and you just keep refreshing and give your shop like +20, then you can just pivot to shop consume and that'll be very, very insane. Or you could just have a Fellbat and then just keep rolling, and I think that'll also be very good. So I think Dalaran Cheese Wheel will be A tier. And then we have Spice Scale Sushi Roll, which makes your spellcrafts cast twice and might be a little broken for the Deep Blue Zesty comp. I mean, remember how Ashara Buddy was a free win? This one is basically Ashara Buddy, but the trinket actually works with Shell Elemental. So your Deep Blues cast twice on your shop, and then your Shell Elemental also cast twice on the buffed shop minion. So yeah, I think this one is absurd. And finally, the last A tier trinket that I have to cover is a bit of a hot take honestly, but I think Bobblehead will be very good. I mean, this one is just a lesser trinket that makes your shops like 50% better for the rest of the game. Like imagine you just force Deep Blue Zesty comp and you can only see tier 3 and tier 4 units. So it might sound better than it actually is, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Do you guys think I missed any OP trinkets? Let me know in the comments, and of course be sure to try out my website on the patch day. I'll be posting every day for the next season, so look forward to that. Peace.